What are you hoping to accomplish when you sit down with the president this week?
Well, I'm hoping to tell San Diego's story. It's really important for the president to have a perspective on the impacts of SB 54 here in the San Diego community. Now, we are the largest county in the state of California represented at this meeting, and so it will be an important time for us to discuss what's really happening here in San Diego.
We're literally on the front lines of this. Yeah. The borders to our south, and San Diego has dealt with illegal immigration in a serious way, not only with law enforcement, but also with government. What is the message you're hoping to get to the president with regard to how we've handled all of this?
Sure. Well, above and beyond the changes under SB 54, as a border community, we have challenges with drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, human trafficking. I was just at an event last night where we were discussing human trafficking and its growth in the San Diego region. Second to drug trafficking now, this booming underground economy, raking in $810 million last year. It's really unbelievable what's happening here. And if you look at our immigrant population is really vulnerable to this trafficking. Nearly 30% of our immigrant population is appearing in human trafficking here. If you look at drugs in San Diego County, the county of San Diego just had to make a significant investment. We had to increase and up the ante to $130 million investment in drug and alcohol rehabilitation for our region. This is on top of the crisis that we have at hand with many of our drug addicted becoming homeless. San Diego County has $300 million at the table for that issue. So all of these things really tie together. This is an important message to take to the top, to the President of the United States.
Last month, when the Board of Supervisors made this vote to file this amicus brief in support of the lawsuit that was going on, the governor was very critical, said some things calling this a political football, low-life politicians. I mean, he was really angry at this vote. But he also made a statement that he thought it was going to be bad for California's economy, which we now know is the 5th largest in the world. To that, you say what? Because you're mentioning a lot of numbers here.
Sure. Well, the governor often resorts to name-calling when he doesn't want to discuss the actual facts. As it turns out, San Diego County was already operating pre-SB 54 in a Gold Star standard. We recognize the fact that we don't want people afraid to call our local law enforcement when they see crimes happening in their community. That's exactly why our deputies were never ordered to ask about citizenship status when they reported out to these calls. That's an important fact to remember because that was the trade-off for what's happening under SB 54, where our local law enforcement no longer has the ability to fully coordinate with immigration agents. And when people are being released from our jails, these are not only individuals who have come into our country illegally, but people have come into our country illegally and are disrespecting our laws. Repeat offenders committing crimes, wreaking havoc on our communities. The best place to intercept these individuals is in that jail setting, not back out in the community where you will hear these stories of other people being swept up when criminals are pursued back out in the community.
How do you feel about the states? I know what happens often is that states are always butting heads with the federal government, federal law. In this case, it's definitely the jurisdiction of the federal government to make sure that the nation is secure on an immigration basis. Is this just political posturing, and how is that affecting that political posturing, if that's what it is? How is that affecting our state?
Well, when you think about it, we're talking about the same federal laws that existed pre-President Trump and in the Obama administration and before that. So we have a governor who does not respect our federal laws. He is attempting to undermine federal law by pursuing policies at the state level. We've seen this before. The Obama administration sued the state of Arizona. The Supreme Court took up this issue, and the answer was quite clear. As reported by Justice Kennedy, who is a very liberal justice, as you know, he reported out the majority opinion that states cannot attempt to undermine federal immigration laws, period. That should be the outcome in this case as well.
Yeah, and the dissenting county supervisor on the board when you made that vote, Supervisor Cox, he was talking about the relationship between our community and law enforcement, saying that he felt it was going to be disruptive to that relationship. But really, for you, it's a security issue for the 3.5 million San Diegans.
That's correct. Pre-SB 54, we were safer. We did not have this active release of criminals back out in our community without the ability for immigration to at least interview these individuals to see whether they should be eligible for deportation. Now, that said, we have a booming binational economy, a strong relationship with Mexico. We are a welcoming San Diego for those who want to follow our laws, follow our process, and come here through legal channels. Most people are surprised to learn that it takes less than a year to become a citizen in our country. And if we want to further refine that, reform that, let's look at it. But for the meantime, we have laws in place that need to be respected.
Interesting that all of a sudden San Diego is in focus, that the White House is paying attention to San Diego, that we have the border issues that are very important, immigration issues, environmental issues. I know that immigration is the #1 thing, but specifically, what other things will you be talking to the president about? Because this is an opportunity to get face-to-face with the head of the country.
Well, this is likely the first time that a San Diego County supervisor has ever been invited to the White House to take part in this type of a strategy session and to really share that narrative. My focus is going to be on our engagement on SB 54, on the issues with human trafficking and drug trafficking across the border. On San Diego has a border wall, as we know, but we still need increased border enforcement. We still need the ability for our local law enforcement to coordinate with state and federal officials as well.
Is it likely that this lawsuit will be wrapped up anytime soon? And was there a reason that San Diego took kind of a different approach than Orange County we saw, where they actually got involved in the lawsuit? Was that a conscious decision on San Diego's part in the county to not get involved on that level?
It was not. It had to do with timing, and we're following the court's timing on this. And like any other court case, I don't anticipate that it fast tracks through. It's a very slow, grinding process. But San Diego County will have the ability at the first available opportunity to file our brief. There's a couple ways these briefs can be done. San Diego won't be arguing the federal case. Rather, we will be sharing the San Diego narrative that I'm taking to the White House next week.
Yeah.
All right,
you'll
Kristin
have
Gaspar,
to
thank you.
Fill us in, let us know how it goes, and
Thank
come
you.
back and talk with us.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that
Kristin,
report.
thank you.
Thanks very much, Kristin Gaspar, and we appreciate your visit this morning. We want to show you the rest. Of course, she's running for the 49th Congressional District. We failed to mention that, but the rest of the candidates who are also running for that district are Doug Applegate, Sarah Jacobs, Paul Kerr, Mike Levin, and Rocky Chavez. Diane Harkey, Brian Marriott, David Medaway, and Craig Nordahl, and of course there on the left side of the screen is Kristin Gaspar, Mike Schmidt, Joshua Schoonover, Danielle St. John, Joshua Hancock, Jordan Mills, Robert Pendleton. No shortage of candidates for District 49.
To replace Darrell Issa. It is a packed house in that field for sure. All right, Francella is standing